Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I saw the video the other day that Jerry Ward did interviewing Jay Cutler, who's former several-time Mr. Olympia, and I've seen this talked about on quite a few different media. Different people are talking about this. This is apparently quite a big deal because there is some discussion of if it's your macros, and even though I'm not really into bodybuilding, I'm going to discuss it. And I guess the thing that really strikes me with it, I'm actually glad that Jerry put it up, because in some ways, you got to respect that. I mean, people may not always like Jerry, but the fact is, he did an interview with Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler did say some things that do disagree a bit with what Jerry says. Jerry put it up anyways. You got to give him some props for that, because he went ahead and put it up anyways. So good job there, Jerry. And the thing that really strikes me, I see a lot of the science guys are talking about it as a big victory for flexible dieting and if it fits your macros. But what's interesting is that what Jay Cutler kind of said in some ways doesn't really fit what they're saying completely. I'm going to get into that in a minute, but the other thing that strikes me as really hypocritical is how many people I've heard over time who are now saying, oh, this is good, it promotes our stance. Yet every time that Jay Cutler, as an example, has said things with his training, and he does some training things that we, in truth be told, we do know a lot of his training isn't going to work that well for people who aren't very genetically gifted on large amounts of drugs. But they point that out that, well, Jay Cutler has amazing genetics and he uses a ton of drugs, so you can't always take what he says seriously whenever they disagree with him, but then when he says something that they agree with, they all want to highlight it. That's a bit hypocritical, guys. You know, which is it? Which is it? Is it his drugs and his genetics giving such an amazing advantage that you shouldn't listen to what he says? Or should you listen to what he says anyways? I've seen some of the people who've used both cards here on the guy, and it's a bit hypocritical. I don't like that. But what essentially is it that Jay said? He did actually kind of bring up genetics into the point of different eating patterns, and he is right there. Different eating patterns are going to work to different people to some extent based upon genetics. There is a genetic component. Some people are going to get more leeway than others. Some people are just less prone to gaining body fat than others. But what he did point out when he was talking about fast carbs and the fact that when he did place really well in the Olympia, he was post-workout, even during his prep, eating candy, junk food, just like candy, sugary candies and things. Like candy corn. He was drinking Coca-Cola post-workout. The thing is though, he's still talking about post-workout glycogen replenishment even when he's cutting. He wasn't talking about people doing it all the time. And he did point out, and I think it is something that everyone generally does agree on. I hope everyone agrees on this in the flexible dieting world, and something that everyone agrees upon who follows bro eating patterns is that no matter what combination of foods you do choose to intake, you need to make sure that the totality of your diet and what you are eating for the day does contain all of your vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, that you aren't deficient in anything with your food choices. Irrespective of what food you try to work in there, he is right. You do have to consider the overall nutritional value of your diet. And not just necessarily for body composition, although even in the long term it can affect body composition and recovery. If nothing else, your health and longevity. These things are important, and you can't completely disregard those things no matter what. But that's just my take on it. So I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. But let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go. Oh, Mount Vesuvius.